the disciples of Jesus had a problem. Not one problem, many problems. They were actually worried about themselves, ego, power, their positions and status on earth and also in heaven. Two of the disciples, with a recommendation of their mother, wanted to get topmost job and post in heaven, James and John, and others were jealous of them. So there were jealousy, anger, ego, selfishness, power mongers among the disciples. That was such dirty dozen Jesus had. But today's disciples are not better also. Today's disciples of Jesus are also having the same issues. Power issues, selfishness, ego, everything is there. And today's gospel is about that. How these disciples were disoriented in their lives, not focused well. And Jesus gives a way of life for these disciples. Very lovely lessons he teaches them. And it is not just for the disciples who lived 2000 years back. It is for all of us disciples. We are all disciples of Christ. All Christians are disciples. And those lessons Jesus taught are also good for us, relevant for us. What are those lessons? The first lesson is ability to serve anyone. Ability to serve the other. We are all ministers of Christ. Ministry means service. That's why Prime Minister, Chief Minister, even in the civil service we call them ministers. Even they are servants, public servants. The word minister is coming from Latin word which means basically service. And he teaches them the lesson of to serve others. So he says, you should be servant, not masters and thinking about your positions and status in the society or in the church. Sometimes we all behave like Maharajas and Maharanis, to sit and behave like, people with lots of power. Whereas Jesus says we should be the least and we should serve others, not be served. So this is the first one Jesus teaches them, to serve others. That means I need to shift my focus from self to others. Most of us are worried about our own selves only, our own comfort, our own health, our own home, our own people. To move from that center to the periphery, to the others, it is very tough. And that is the meaning of being the servant of all. Second lesson Jesus teaches still tougher. He says ability to include anyone in your circle of relationship. Ability to include anyone. Now this particular point can be misunderstood by many people. We have read this passage from the Gospel of Mark. And Jesus takes an example of a child. And he takes the child in his hand. Jesus took the child in his hand and showed the model of the child and said, if anyone welcomes this child, welcomes God. What does it mean? Other two Gospels would speak about not welcoming the child. It will speak about becoming like the child. But this is better version. Mark, the first Gospel, where Jesus is not talking about becoming like a child. And sometimes we behave like children because Jesus said become like child. But most important part is not becoming like a child, but welcome a child. What is the meaning of welcoming a child? You should understand the context of Jesus' time, the status of children. Children were not having any status at all. They have no legal right, social right, religious rights, nothing. They were actually not even counted in the census. When 5,000 people were fed, they were only men, Not even women were counted. So children not at all part of the social system at that time. They were least considered. They were not bothered. When they become adult, only they are considered official people in the society and the religion. Otherwise, they are not bothered at all. They have no status at all. They were the least and the lost and the lowly people in the time of Jesus. So when he said, if you welcome a child, welcome him. What's the meaning of that? Image of the child indicates, we need to welcome anyone, the lost, the marginalized, who are not part of the center of the society, who are not even welcomed by others, who are not even considered as a human being by others. That means they are the least and the last and the lost, humble people. And if you do such that means if you are willing to welcome anyone, then we are the proper disciples. And that's why Jesus took a child in his hand. In fact, there are many other incidents when Jesus blessed the children and people brought the children. The disciples chased the children away. Why? Children are not important part in Jesus' circle, but Jesus included them. And to show the disciples, even unwanted people, they were the unwanted people in Jesus' time. Okay, so the lesson Jesus teaches us is not become like a child, but welcome anyone, even those who are abandoned, those who are not considered part of the mainstream. So that is a big lesson even today. We welcome only big and VIPs maybe. We recognize only sometimes, those who are in the society, well known, or even in the church. For us, when a bishop comes, we will recognize and we will honor. When an ordinary worker or a construction worker comes, we won't bother. Because they are not that status, social status with or ecclesiastical status with other dignitaries. Whereas Jesus says a lesson, teaches a lesson, anyone, everyone is precious. Not only those who have got a church status or social dignity, anyone to be welcome. That is tough. So that's the second lesson Jesus teaches us. Third lesson, most important, ability to focus on our goal. What is focusing on our goal? Many a times we shift or drift from our goal in life. All of us have our own mission and our own goals. We all have a purpose. That's the difference between Jesus and us. We are here to live. Jesus came to die. We are here to live in this world, for most of us, all of us. But Jesus came to die. That was his goal, to die. So he repeatedly says, the Son of Man is going to be handed over to the man and he will be killed, crucified, etc. This is the third time Jesus repeating the same thing. And every time Jesus repeats, they are not bothered. Disciples are, because disciples' focus is different. Their goal is different. They are worried about who is the greatest among them, who will get the first place in heaven, and who will be the better than the others. They are discussing among themselves, the positions in life. Whereas Jesus is talking something serious about his life and death, and they are not bothered. And when they came to the house, Jesus asked them, what were you talking about? And they said, nothing. They did not say anything. Typical of present day disciples too. We talk among themselves and we shift our attention from the main topic sometimes and main issues in life. Exactly like the disciples, when asked, what are you talking? Nothing. A typical disciple behavior, which Jesus experienced among his disciples. Even today we behave that way. So that purpose in life was missing among the disciples. We all need a purpose-driven life. Without purpose, our life is meaningless. That's why Jesus said, I have come here to die. That is my mission. And the disciples are supposed to share in that mission. of saving mission of Jesus, but they were worried about who is the greatest and all that. So many a times, even today, most of us can drift away from our basic goal. What is my mission? What is my goal in this life? Good to ask that question. Why do I do what I am doing? Ask this question. Why do I do what I am doing? Then you will find the problem of our goal in life. Probably the best prayer to shift from our selfishness to selfless act of love, and from the self to others, and to be servant of all, probably is the best prayer is a prayer of peace. Lord, make me an instrument of peace. It is all a prayer about not self, prayer about what do I need to be and need to do in this society and in the world. Lord, make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is sorrow, joy. And towards the end of that prayer, it says, it is in giving that we receive. It is in dying that we are born to eternal life.